So coming to the stage next is an old friend of the Munoz Foundation. He is one of the $20,000 scholarship winners. And since then, he's gone on to do some amazing things. He's worked with some brands like Disney, Sony, Budweiser, right? And he's also the co-founder and chief brand officer at Fooji. So without further ado, give some love to a Munoz Foundation alum, Erik Zamudio.
Hey guys, first and foremost, thank you guys so much for having me back up here. It has been like 5 years since I've been on this stage, so I'm super excited to come back here and get the opportunity to chat with you guys today. So I want to start off today a little bit backwards from my usual speeches. So I am fully self-aware of the fact that most, if not all of you guys, have zero clue who I am or what I do. So I want to start off with a little bit of kind of a credibility check. So again, my name is Erik. I'm 24 years old. I am insanely, obsessively passionate about the startup community and the startup world. I have lived in that world now for 6 years, so more than a fifth of my life has been dedicated to this. This year, I started an advertising technology company with my friend back in January that we grew from $300 in revenue into a multi-million-dollar ad tech platform that works with some of the largest brands in the entire world in just a few months. I also advise several tech companies here in the States, as well as over in London, across the pond. And so that's just a little bit of a background on me so that you guys understand why I even deserve to be up here asking for your attention. So when I first got the email from the AMF asking me to come back here, I got super excited and really fired up because I knew it was a chance for me to come up here and just be really honest with you guys. Now, up until about a week ago, I had this speech done. It was really nice. It was pretty and polished and buttoned up, and it was about leadership and what makes a great leader and how to build the perfect team and all of these things that people think they have the answer to. Spoiler alert, they don't. So I came back with that speech, and I sat down with my friend Alex. He always kind of keeps me in check about these things. And so I gave him the speech, and I asked him afterwards what he thought. And he was like, man, it's good, but is that you going up there and having an honest conversation with the audience and telling them things that you wish you would have heard? And so I took that back and I thought about it a lot. And I realized that no, it wasn't, right? It was this fluffy, shiny, glittery speech that was going to make you guys go home and feel good about yourselves. But at the end of the day, if you go home and you feel good about yourselves and you don't actually do anything about it, that means that I've failed you as a speaker, right? People will get up on these stages and they will tell you things like, if you are passionate enough, things fall into place. And if you love what you do enough, things just work out and you'll be successful. But the honest fact is that that's just not true, right? Like doing what I do, doing what these other speakers do, it's really tough. Creating a company, building a movement, creating change, it's time consuming. Sometimes it's lonely, like I travel a lot. I don't get to see my friends and family nearly as much as I wish. Financially, it's difficult. Like I remember a time when I had $2.56 in my bank account and trying to figure out how I was going to feed myself for a week. It was really tough, but I love that grind, but it's not as easy as people always make it out to be. And so I scrapped my entire last speech. I just scrapped it all. And then on a flight to Miami, I built this next one. I made the deck in like 2 minutes, so don't judge how bad it is. But I just wanted to come up here and be really honest with you guys. And so what I want to talk about today are 2 characteristics that I have seen in every single successful person that I've ever met. And to step back from that for a second, I'm fully aware of the fact that success means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But I'm talking about across the entire spectrum. Right? Like my friend who's a billionaire and his goal was to buy an NBA team, he has these 2 characteristics. My friend who his goal was to have a great family and a happy home life, he has these 2 characteristics. My friend who wanted to get a great education and be a lifelong learner, she's insanely intelligent, she has these 2 characteristics as well. And those 2 characteristics are hustle and execution. That's it. So let's talk about hustle for a second. Hustle really is pretty simple. It comes down to a couple things, right? How hard are you willing to work? And how much are you willing to sacrifice to get what you want? Like, are you willing to work harder than the person sitting next to you right now? Because you have to. You guys are about to go into a transition into college. I've been there. It shows my age, but it was a long time ago. But I remember how difficult that is. You're about to have a lot of new challenges, a lot of new friends, a lot of new relationships. You might think you've fallen in love. Maybe you have fallen in love. A lot of new classes, a lot of parties, a lot of distractions, right? If you want to be successful, you cannot get distracted. Like, I can't tell you guys how many parties I skipped out on because I felt my time was more valuably spent elsewhere. And I got a lot of flack for that. Like, I got made fun of a lot. They would call me lame. I stopped getting invited to parties altogether, which was totally fine. But my friends would go out on a Saturday night, and I would want to stay in on Skype or on Google Hangout talking with my developers who were based overseas, right? So their morning was my nighttime. So I would stay up with them talking because I wanted to get a new product implementation done by the morning. So I would stay up until 5, 6 a.m. working, and I got it done. I didn't sleep a lot. I still don't sleep a lot. But that's because I found something that I was so passionate about that it kept me up at night. And I encourage you guys to find something that you are so passionate about that it keeps you up, and hustle after that. So talking a little bit about the ability to execute, that's something that a lot of people usually leave out of this equation. But it is one of the most important things. And I'm going to start with something that might burst some people's bubbles. I'm sure some of you have heard this. If you haven't, I apologize. But ideas mean nothing. Truly, like a great idea means nothing. If you have this awesome idea and you work on it a little bit and it never comes to life, that's like running 99 yards, getting to the 1 yard line and just fumbling it, right? Like, you've scored 0 points at the end of the day. Ideas don't mean anything until they are brought to life. And another thing that you guys are going to experience as you go through this transition is a lot of people are going to tell some of you guys that you are at a disadvantage because of things like your race or your gender or your socioeconomic status or your zip code, right? Like, technically, I shouldn't be up here. I'm a Hispanic from the inner city. Like, statistically, I'm not supposed to be here. But I hustled, and I executed, and so I am here. The beauty of all of these demographic disadvantages that people are going to hit you with is the fact that none of those impact your ability to teach yourself how to execute and then go forward and execute. And it's something that is absolutely a teachable skill that you can acquire through practice. Like, I remember the first time that I really recall teaching myself how to take something from an idea and build it into a final product. I was in 3rd grade. I was walking across the street, and I saw this little soup can lid on the ground, right? Like the kind that you twist off with like a can opener, and it's super sharp on the edges, and your parents tell you not to play with it because you're gonna cut yourself. I saw that, and I was like, I really like painting. This is like a free canvas. What if I take these things and I just paint cool designs on them and then I sell them to my friends? And so I did that, right? I spent like a week collecting lids. I spent a couple weeks painting them, and then I sold them. I made like $100. I was in 3rd grade. I was like a millionaire at that point. I was rich. And I did that. And side note, side lesson, eventually kids started using those as like Frisbees, and they were throwing them at each other, which is insanely dangerous. So side lesson, the market will always tell you if your product is a good fit. That was the market telling me, Eric, this is a terrible, terrible idea. Like, stop doing it. And so I stopped. But nonetheless, I had taken something from an idea, and I saw it all the way through to the final product. And that's something that you guys can start doing today, and I encourage you to do so. If you have a small idea, start figuring out the steps that it takes to get that through to a final product, and start doing that. Guys, it really does come down to just those 2 characteristics, hustle and the ability to execute. You guys have an amazing opportunity being here today. Just sitting in these seats, like, look around you. There is a reason that you guys are the ones sitting in those chairs out of everybody at your school. You have a fantastic opportunity. Please, I beg you, do not waste that opportunity. Hustle your faces off and execute every single time. Thanks, guys.